Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is Diagnosing and Dismantling Society, and today we're specifically going to look at depression. I promised yesterday when we kicked this off that I would do depression today, so I wanted to make sure I honored that. According to Google, depression is a common mental health condition characterized by persistent feelings of sadness, loss of interest, and low energy levels. I have a lot to say about depression. If you're new here, this project is new. I just started it yesterday. I have my master's degree in social justice and human rights, but I specifically specialized in the dismantling and breaking down of the United States mental health system as a form of social control. I did my research in Skid Row and downtown Los Angeles predominantly, and that's important because it's such an easy concept to grasp in that space, in that landscape. Skid Row, if you're not familiar, is the homeless capital of the country. So we have like drugs addiction, trafficking, prostitution, mental health issues, homelessness, violence, all of it. Okay, impoverished, and racism as well. Very important. So what we're doing with this project on this channel is I am breaking down every mental illness that is listed within the well, not every one of them, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. That is like the psychologist's Bible, and I am reminding everybody that all of these diagnoses were democratically voted on in regards to pathologizing of behavior. So a bunch of white coats and white hoods sat around a table, men, white, okay, and they voted on which characteristics go with certain diagnoses, and they put labels on everything. The formation of the DSM started in 1952, and the relationship to Big Pharma is incredibly apparent. I do have a playlist of documentaries about Big Pharma, and I want to disclaim that this project is not to undermine what people are really struggling with. It's just to offer a new frame of reference to look at the system as the problem instead of pointing the finger at individuals who are doing their best to survive in a system that is rigged for the rich. Okay? Capitalist systems. So anyway, I have a lot to say about depression because I think most of us do suffer with bits of depression because of how this system works, because of the disconnection. If you go to my my bio for this channel, one of the things that I hold near and dear and the foundation of my work at this point in time is reconnection to self, the natural world, and the collective. And one thing that capitalism has done a great job of is disconnecting us from each other, ourselves, and of nature. Okay? So this is, again, a 180 flip from the ways in which we think about things, and allowing ourselves to decolonize from that, and also reclaim our own agency within whatever it is we may be feeling. I often talk about, if you are new on my channel, how our feelings are like a pirate ship on the ocean. The feelings are the waves, we are the pirate ship. It's just a metaphor to understand that just because we feel certain feelings at certain times or things arise within us doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. It means that our internal navigation system, much like a pirate ship would have, is telling us something, okay? I am a Pisces, so I am a very deep feeler. Feelings do not scare me. But because of I also have spiritual gifts. I believe everyone has spiritual gifts. We've just, again, been disconnected from those things. So check out my channel if you are new here, but this is a great project to reframe the way we think about things. So again, depression is a common mental health condition. Okay, it's common because of the ways in which society works. Okay, none of us want to go to a fucking job. None of us wanted to pick something to do for the rest of our lives. No. But that's the indoctrination that we went into and that we've had since we were, 5 years old. Beforehand, actually. Since we've been alive on this planet, we've all been indoctrinated into these systems that tell us we have to choose one motherfucking thing to do, when in all reality, we are all multifaceted. We are all a totality of many different things, and this system doesn't allow that to flourish, okay? So again, this is a decolonizing practice. Some of the symptoms that individuals exhibit when they are labeled with or experiencing depression, again, this is not a, you're a wuss for doing that. No, this has nothing to do with you. Personally, if you are triggered by what I'm saying, that is not my intention. I understand intention and impact are two different things. I'm just trying to help alleviate your individual suffering by recognizing that this system was put in place to make people feel a certain way so that they were easy to control and contribute to this system, okay? And again, this hasn't always existed, and that's why we're here talking about it, because we can create new things, okay? So persistent low mood or sadness, loss of interest or pleasure in activities you once enjoyed, okay? Let's talk about quickly, if you live in an urban landscape and you have to use public transportation to get to your job. So you have a 9 to 5. So you have to wake up at 5 o'clock to take your shower, get ready, work out, whatever. Maybe if you can fit a workout in. Probably not. Probably going to have to do that after. But then you have to catch a bus or a train or call an Uber. Either way, you have to rely on someone else for your transportation, and you have to rely on everything going as planned within that system, right? There can't be any accidents. There can't be any holdups. There can't be any issues with your card. There can't be, whatever. And we know this is not true. But anyway, all that to say is, there's a saying that people say, everyone has the same amount of hours in a day, which is not true if you are someone who has to rely on others for things, which a lot of poor folks do. For instance, public transportation, that's why we're talking it. And the reason I brought it up with this point of loss of interest or pleasure in activities you once enjoyed, because there's not enough time to enjoy them. That's the main point I'm trying to make. Changes in appetite or weight, sleep disturbances, insomnia or excessive sleeping, fatigue or loss of energy, difficulty concentrating or making decisions, feelings of worthiness or guilt, thoughts of death or suicide. The exact causes of depression, according to this Google, I am not using the DSM for this, but I looked at the table of contents of the DSM-5, which has the most revised version. When did that come out? Like 2012, I think. Anyway, the categorizing of normal human behavior into mental illnesses is alarming, okay? I wrote down a couple because they really bothered me. I don't know why I wrote those down. Maybe in here. But anyway, okay, so if you are a person who is suffering from depression, I get it. I've been there too. I was put on Zoloft when I was 14. My journey through the mental health system started at 14. I am 37 now. Nope, I'm 38 now. I'm 38 now. And I went off all of my psychotropics. For a long time I was a guinea pig. They used to change my medicine every time I would go in. I've been in mental institutions, so I'm not making light of what people are going through or the things that you have been diagnosed with, and I'm not telling you that that's not valid. I just really want to hit that home because I'm not trying to be insensitive. I've worked with hundreds of people on the ground in Skid Row, and I founded and facilitated a few different mental health groups. So just so you know, I'm not coming at this from a ableist way. I've also done peer training, so I am a peer. Anyway, the exact causes of depression are biological factors, imbalances in the brain or chemicals, genetic predisposition, life events such as loss, trauma, and stress, medical conditions such as thyroid disorders. Oh, that was one that I struggled with, was hypothyroidism, and substance abuse. Many times the thyroid issues derive from pharmaceuticals. That was my case. It was another symptom. And that's the thing, when I was on medication, I was so depressed. If that's you, I'm going to put in the description box below the Fireweed Collective link. I've talked about them a lot lately, especially within this context of these things. But that is a radical mental health group that started out as the Icarus Project in New York in the early 2000s and has shifted into the Fireweed Collective. It is a predominantly it's a radical mental health space. There's tons of resources and workshops and other networking. So if you are someone who is suffering with any of these, I'll go back and add the Fireweed Collective actually into the other description boxes for the other ones as well. The thing that I think is important is right here when it says life events. It says loss, trauma, or stress. Stress, but it doesn't mention having to exist within capitalist society. It doesn't mention the stressors of public transportation, for instance, or the stress of traffic if you are traveling. It doesn't talk about the stress of being a parent to a child in these times. It doesn't go into detail what the stress is. And that is where we are losing the ability to be critical about the system, and where it's being pushed on us. Like, oh, you're just not dealing with this well enough. The whole system is rotten, okay? We can create something new just the same way these evil motherfuckers have created this system, all right? I think often about the ways in which the Great Depression was called such. I think about depression, and I think about, what's the other one? What are we experiencing right now? A repression? I don't know what that means. But I think about those words when people talk about them in the context of society. It's all in the aspect of economics, okay? So that's another thing. It's just an interesting relationship. I think I'm like hitting a dead end here with this. It's just something that I kind of throw around in my brain. But the depression that has to do with economic systems, and the depression of people having to participate in a capitalist system that feeds the economic systems, fascinating. And also, whatever you're going through, it's not your fault. You are doing the best you motherfucking can in a system that was designed to strip us of our humanity and our soul and our passions and make us slaves for them. Again, think about the stock market and the economy and how all of that is made up. Money is made up. We could be doing something different. And if we were doing something different, we would be a lot happier. So I hope this helps. Resources in the description box below. Have a good one. I'll be back soon. We're going to do borderline personality disorder next, which I know has been a very large diagnosing factor for the masses, especially Gen Z. Have a good one.